How we doing, guys? This time, the game is JSA, the Japanese sectorial army of Yuqing, against vanilla PanOceania. We're going to be playing Capture and Control, well-known scenario, now in ITS 9. And the idea in this mission is to, first of all, click the button on one of the consoles through the middle of the table. After that's been clicked on, your opponent can't click on the same one, and then retrieve the beacon from your opponent's deployment zone. So this is the table. You can see here that is console number 1 and console number 2. So you've got to decide which one you're going for and commit to it and collect that one. Your opponent can get the other one. And then you have to pick up either, if you're on this side of the table, the opponent's beacon here, and of course protect your beacon here. And that's pretty much all there is to it. There's a classified objective, as usual, but in ITS 9 you can get an additional 2 points by getting the beacon with your data tracker. So here's our table. Maybe I might just take my face out of this for the moment, just while we have a good look at the actual tabletop. So the deployment zone runs through to about here for this side, through that beacon, and the other one runs through about here. As you can see, there are some decent fire lanes. There's a pretty big one across there. The person deploying on the side's got a building there, of course. There's a pretty long one down here, another fairly long one down here. So obviously, sniper rifles, machine guns still going to be okay, but as you can see, there's plenty of opportunities to get in close with the shorter range weapons. So we're both pretty happy with the table. Alrighty, so my opponent wins the dice roll, decides to go for first turn, which struck me as a surprise because this is a really good mission for going second, because all you have to do as the player going second is to actually pick up the beacon, and then you basically won. Whereas if you're going first, your opponent has another turn after you pick up the beacon, so they can just shoot you while you're out in the open. You've got to actually bring it back, so it makes it harder. My opponent, though, is going for a single combat group, 10 order list, and is running this Montesa knight over here with the light grenade launcher, so that's why he wants to go first. He wants to use all 10 orders to lob grenades at me. Elsewhere, okay, so there is a there is the NIS with HMG here. Trauma Doc there to help him out if he goes down. There's a pleb lieutenant decoy. Of course, the forward observing Fusilier team, auxiliar team, we should say. Alright, and then on his right-hand side, he's got this Palbot here with a NIS sniper, so double NIS now, and another Palbot over here. So the doctor's actually got 2 Palbots sitting there to help her out. You can see my beacon over here with the Yojimbo marker. Then on his extreme right-hand side, another Fusilier Link team and his HV2 right along the side of the table. So that's how it's looking. Then I get to deploy. I have decided to, this is a picture of hidden deployment, I've decided to infiltrate, or superior infiltrate, Shinobu right next to the Montesa knight. The plan is that if he's going to use all 10 orders to just spam grenades onto my link team, then I can at least slow him down by engaging with Shinobu, and, 13 or less, and it's a normal roll if he's using his speculative fire as a long skill, which will completely cripple him, and Shinobu will pick up this very expensive knight for free. But taking a risk here, I decided to deploy her in hidden deployment, even though she's the lieutenant. So you guys can see the problem with that. Even though I've got a Kempaitai, chain of command doesn't kick in unless your opponent goes into null state. If your opponent's just, if you're a lieutenant, that is, if your lieutenant is not even on the tabletop and you start with chain of command, you are in lost lieutenant. So what I'm counting on here is him actually spending any orders with the Montesa to give me a chance to reveal Shinobu before it's my turn. If she reveals and gets killed, well, chain of command kicks in, I should be alright. My reasoning for taking this very large risk, my rationale behind it, is that if he decides not to even activate his Montesa knight at all in the first turn, that means that I get to go through to the end of the game without getting hit by any grenade launcher shots whatsoever, which is a big win right there. And for me to go through my first turn of Lost Lieutenant won't be that painful. There's still a lot of things I can do. And even if I am in Lost Lieutenant, it's only going to cost 1 order for Shinobu to just nudge over to him and kill him with swing of her blade. So I thought this was the best way to go, and she did pass the roll and does get deployed there. The ninja killer hacker deploying nearby to my left-hand objective as well. So here's how we stand. This model here is actually a mine, and this is the Raiden mine layer with heavy rocket launcher. Decided to make the more prominent one the mine, just in case my opponent is slowed down by worrying that it might be the real Raiden. This is just a normal flash pulse spot, and you can see the beacon here that he's going to be going for. I've deployed a link team over in this building here, so we'll have a look at it in a second. Let's change up the colors. Go for a bright green. So this model here is a mine, and it's created by a Yuriko Oda who has the mine layer ability. Then there's a normal Kaisotsu and another normal Kaisotsu up here with no abilities whatsoever. There's a Kaisotsu hacker, Kaisotsu missile launcher, and the Kenpai. Note that there are 6 models here which can belong to the same link team. I've included an extra Kaisotsu not only as a cheap order generating cheerleader, but because if one of the models dies, I can top up the link team with that 6th player. Right, so this guy down here is the link leader. I probably should have made it the hacker, though, to be fair. And, of course, the Rishi at the back, just to make use of Shinobu's smoke or Yojimbo's smoke. Speaking of Yojimbo, he's on the right-hand side flank with his koala here and koala here. We've got a sensor bot here who can train its combi rifle down the angle there. HVT behind my face there. Doctor over here, although the Doctor does have a helper bot next to the Kaisotsu missile launcher, and a Warcore standing up there in the open. Aha, so just a bit of a view of this. You can see that there's the Montesa Knight, and Shinobu is standing right next to him in hiding. The Montesa can easily fire his grenades over to this building and blast it, although it probably will be out of range of the 16 inches. So the hope there is that at least I get a pretty good chance of burning through his orders and dodging through most of those shots. Alright, his reserve model is the Seraph, and this is a bit of a worry, because if he just spends all 10 orders on the Seraph instead of the Montesa, then I'm a lost lieutenant, and he'll probably kill a lot of guys with it as well. Mushashi, Miyamoto Mushashi, one of my favorite models in this game, is deployed prone next to the mine. What was annoying is that the limited spots in the deployment zone mean that he's going to be able to lob grenades and potentially clip the mine as well, or other things if he goes for speculative shot with the template, which might be a way of getting around marker state. Anyway, getting straight into it, so from the right-hand side of the battlefield, the Seraph is moving along here. There is a mine marker here, but it doesn't respond, and my opponent correctly guesses that it is the Raiden. So no shootouts just yet. What happens, though, is he's trying to move the Seraph to around about this point here, because he wants to take on this Kaisotsu, who's the link leader, standing out in the open, beyond 24 inches, I might add. My Raiden is over here. So what happens is that I'm AOing with the Kaisotsu. Now, +3 for link, -3 for long range, 2 bursts, so it's hitting on 10s, whereas he's just firing at long range, so it's 4 dice on 12s, but he's going to put only 2 dice into the Kaisotsu because he wants to shoot at the Raiden. So shooting at the Raiden, you're talking 2 dice on, is it 15s, against 1 dice on a 15? So it's not really the best position for the Seraph to be in. Having said that, though, when we make the face-to-face rolls, I get quite unlucky here and lose both of them pretty dramatically. So not only is the Kaisotsu destroyed, but the Raiden doesn't pass the armor save and dies also. So 2 models down immediately, which is kind of painful, because he's still got tons of orders left. So yeah, I wasn't particularly happy with that. Maybe I shouldn't even have, responded with the Raiden, but I think I have to, because I want to either get lucky and get a hit with the flamer, with the flame ammo, or maybe get hit and pass the save and dodge around, or at least cause them to need to spend more orders doing that. So yeah, just not wonderful. So there's the Raiden there getting shot. This has also got me worried about the fact that, well, to be honest, the Montesa Knight hasn't seen any action yet, and I could, be forced to go into Lost Lieutenant. And the bad thing about that is that I might need a few orders to actually get to the Seraph and respond when it's my turn. So he's continuing to come around here, just trying to draw line of sight to the Kaisotsu with missile launcher. You can see him here, and because of the awkward angle he's in, I don't really have cover from that angle. I've only got cover from, the line along there, which was the plan all along. So with Spitfire at long range, I still can't beat him with the missile launcher, despite my, hitting on 16s on 2 dice, I think it is against 4 dice on 18s. So yeah, not really really loving that. He gets into this spot here, and this is actually the point where we do the shootout. So I decided to throw yet another model into this and engage with my ninja. This, I hoped, would force him to split his burst, possibly getting hit by a missile launcher in the process, but he decided to put all bursts, all shots into the missile launcher, and again wins the face-to-face roll. So dice going pretty badly here for me, and the ninja successfully engages, but he doesn't really mind that, because now what he can do after engaging is just, he can choose to place my model wherever he wants in base-to-base contact. So he puts him around here so that the NIST sniper can move out. So NIST sniper moving around the corner is able to shoot along here, and you can see the ninja getting shot at now. So first shot goes off, hits the ninja, and the ninja passes both armor saves miraculously. So fires again, hits the Seraph twice, and the Seraph passes all but one armor save. So at least he's burned through a couple of orders. That's, at least we can say that much. And then finally shoots him a third time and kills the ninja. So that's the ninja dead. I've lost the ninja, Raiden, 2 Kaisatsus, and he's still got his tag. So elsewhere, he decides to make a coordinated order and move the NIS into a better position because it didn't start in cover. But after coordinating this model as well, he decides to also coordinate the Montesa Knight. So thank God that he did this, because now Shinobu gets to be revealed, and I'm not going to be a loss of lieutenant, unless, of course, the Montesa just shoots Shinobu and kills her. So it's physical 13 against 1 combi at +3 -6. So the odds of actually him killing me here aren't bad. It's favored that Shinobu will win this, but it's not another question that this Montesa wins. And we roll the dice. Shinobu does successfully engage, so we are okay there. Actually, what happens is that I think both of us fail our roll, so Shinobu doesn't engage. Anyway, he uses his last final order to move the Seraph into safety because he'd prefer to have his tag survive rather than kill Shinobu, because once Shinobu's revealed, Chain of Command does work. It's only when she's not on the battlefield, if you guys follow that. So, pretty disastrous first turn, but it could have been a lot worse. Shinobu could have died. Now I get to play a turn with my lieutenant active and providing a regular order as well, which is nice. So Yojimbo's screaming around the corner with his koalas. The doctor trying to revive the missile launcher, but failing the roll, and I don't want to burn through my command tokens. I think that'll be quite useful later on. So I'm letting the missile launcher die. I've got a backup Kenpai Tai to keep the link of 4, at least. So now, we realized there was a very, very small angle, and you can't see it in the photo, where the NIS sniper can be seen by the Rushi at long range. And this is a bit of a desperate move. I'm behind in this game, so trying a bit of a desperate move here. The thinking behind this is the Rushi with assisted fire shooting at long range beyond 32 inches is -6, so hitting on 6s with a 4 dice. The NIS shooting back at me needs a 13 on 1 dice. So if he rolls between, 7 to 13, I'm going to lose that face off unless I get a crit. But if he misses completely, or if he rolls really, really low, then the Rishi has a pretty good chance there. And luckily, the Rishi does manage to get the hits required to kill the sniper, allowing me to move out with Mushashi and take on his tag. The other piece of thinking here is that if this fails, Yuriko Oda is an engineer and she can just move up to it and revive it and then have another go at it. So my thinking was, with a couple of attempts at shooting the NIS sniper, the odds weren't too bad of me actually picking him off, and by picking him off, it really gives me a chance to come back into the game in a very big way. So Mushashi, like the hero he is, moving down the street, and he gets shot at by the Spitfire and by the Heavy Flamer, goes for the dodge roll and wins, right? So he doesn't get damaged by this, which is amazing. So then he can move straight into close combat with the tag. The tag, best it can do is try and fend off with a Spitfire shot or something like that, but Mushashi with his swords, shring shring, manages to destroy it, and tanks an armor save from the orc spot as he moves in there. So happy days, really a good time from him. Shinobu crawls up the stairs and takes a swing at the Montesa Knight, predictably swiping his head off with a mono sword. Yojimbo carefully sidling up next to the building, and the idea here is that with the koalas in base-to-base contact with the terrain piece here, the distance between there and the other side of the terrain piece is about 8 inches, and there's a NIS HMG on the other side. So if the NIS now moves, hopefully he'll get hit by the crazy koalas, unless my opponent can put a lot of resources into removing this setup. Mushashi, moving back behind the stairs, or moving up behind the stairs. I want to conserve him for later turns. Mushashi is a really, really useful model. He's got a lot of reach. He's got a lot of threat range with his 6'4" speed. Physical 14, dodging's really, really good. Willpower 15, Flash Pulse, really good at AOing or actually beating somebody there. And of course, he's got that NWI, so really extremely useful model. I really recommend him in JSA, if you know what you're doing, that is. Bit of an overview look out of the table here. So what can we see? Shinobu is at the top of the building here, and she's prone, so she's okay. Yojimbo is just holding off this little side of the table here. We've got the Rushi and the Sensorbot back behind here, and of course covering off the beacon as well, with the mine also covering the beacon. Link team are all prone, but there's 4 of them, so not wonderful. Got a Flash Pulse back here, and Mushashi's behind the building. So I feel like I've pulled the game back a little bit. He's down to 6 orders and lost some really hefty troops. He's lost a Nis Sniper, he's lost Montesa Knight, and he's lost a Seraph Tag. So that's a huge wad of points gone from his list. Alright, so my opponent decides to solve the Yojimbo problem by moving out with these guys, the Auxilia Fort Observing team. So what he's trying to do is initially move the Orc spot so it's further than 8 away from the koala here, and then with the second short skill, move in and detonate the koalas and get a flamethrower hit off. So moving them around here, the idea is to collect Yojimbo and a koala with the flamethrower. The koala obviously moves in and blasts, but I think this results in the bot not being destroyed because he passes his armor save. But Yojimbo successfully dodges the flamer, and he's got Kinematica too, so Yojimbo decides to move up to the edge of the corner here, like this. What happens next is the lieutenant, or not the lieutenant, the pleb Fusilier moves around the side and shoots at Yojimbo, but this is perhaps a mistake because Yojimbo now gets to throw down a smoke grenade, which means he's not going to be affected by any more flamer attacks. The flamer is going to become an intuitive attack in future, which might make it a little bit different. Alright. So there's Yojimbo having successfully put down the smoke grenade, and my opponent's down a couple of orders now, so he's only got about four left. So the Crocman appearing out of hidden deployment to press the button, and this becomes possible now that Yojimbo's gone, so I guess the smoke did work out in his favor after all. With the button successfully pressed, the Crocman now moves across here and plants a mine just to help defeat Yojimbo when it becomes my turn, and puts down another mine, in fact, next to this crate here, so he's got 2 of them now, and then goes back into camo mode at the end of the turn. He's forgotten, though, that there's a Sensorbot right around the corner. So this Sensorbot uses his sensor ability and reveals the mine and the Crocman. So this now allows me to sacrifice Yojimbo, detonating both mines just by moving into close combat with him. So his arrow, since he's got 1 mine left, why not just place another mine which doesn't go off until the end of the turn? So Yojimbo gets destroyed by a flamethrower, 2 mines and so forth, but at least he kills the Crocman with a swing of his blade. So that's at least eliminating another order from my opponent's pool and a bit of a threat on that side of the table. Now, unfortunately, he's picked up the console that I was planning on going for, and my ninja is dead, so I've got no choice really to win this game but to move out with my link team of specialists. So I've got the Kempaitai, we've got Yuriko, we've got the hacker, we've got the regular plebs, so there's 3 specialists between them, moving down the stairs, and as we do so, taking a couple of long-range shots with Panzerfaust and combi rifle and not really achieving very much. So here they come, trooping down the street. Yuriko's unloaded her Panzerfaust now. To help me out here, I've moved up with Shinobu standing up and firing a combi rifle long range, just so I can stop it from dodging closer to me. This is the Orc spot, by the way, and Yuriko and her team are about to move down the street to this objective to capture it. We don't really want to be giving free arrow dodges to that Orc spot to bring it close to me. I'd rather, you know, just move the entire time without bringing it closer. So that's what has to happen, but the Shinobu does not kill the Orc spot, sadly. So here they come, down the street, just getting into position, and yeah, just going to have a go at pressing the button. Now, first couple of attempts failed to press the button and I ran out of orders, so the only thing I really had to do at the end was to spend a command token to turn Mushashi's irregular order into a regular and press it one last time, successfully pressing the button, of course, and then it becomes my opponent's final turn. But the Link team are kind of out in the open here. So annoyingly, he now moves forward with his Orc Spot, and he's able to Flamer everybody, so I can only dodge here, otherwise I get Flamed. So some of them dodge. Shinobu's shooting down from the scaffold there, or the Skywalk, the gantry way with her combi rifle, just trying to desperately fend off this Orc Spot. Now, initially, I only lose the Kempaitai, but elsewhere in the field, he's got this Hexa. Not this Hexa, this Nis HMG. So, not too sure if you can see it, but Shinobu's in the distance. So the Hexa, the Nis coming up the stairway, using your HMG and blasting Shinobu out. And this is quite bad, actually, because it puts me into lost lieutenant, having lost the Kempaitai as well. So, things could be difficult for my final turn. Elsewhere, moving his lieutenant around from behind the box, trying to do some shooting, but not really achieving too much there. He's still got this Orc Spot out the open. We've finally killed his Orc Spot, so he's still got the Auxilia, I should say. So that's where we've got to there. On his side of the table, just having a look at where we're at, so you can see the Nest getting into position, just moving up there with a coordinated order. He's moved over here with his other Auxilia member, just to try and get in range of my HVT, because the game's going to come down to a really sort of close situation. We're both on a single objective point each, so capturing the HVT is going to be the difference between a win or a draw or a loss, basically. It's unlikely we can get any beacons. Moving closer. My opponent just continuing to move closer here, just to get into a position where if I move out, he's going to get a free arrow on me. So the Kaisotsu gets a free arrow shot against this Auxilia, but fails to hit him. Kaisotsus aren't that good at shooting. And as you can see here, he's got a Auxilia guy here, and what he decides to do is to, I think, put him in suppression fire at the end of the turn, if I recall correctly. So yeah, here we go. So this is a better view of it. The photo's a bit blurry, but this is the Auxilia, which he has in range of my HVT. If it does not die, he wins, or at least draws if I get a classified completed. He's got suppression fire on this guy here, which gets immediately shot by the Kaisotsu. I think he passes his armor save, but fails guts, so goes out of suppression fire straight away. And of course, the lieutenant model here with suppression fire over there. So it's going to be harder for Mushashi to move out into his HVT with all of the suppression fire going on. But there's a few things we can do. Now, all of my models are irregular, so bear that in mind. First of all, the flash pulse spot moving over here. Firing his flash pulse long range at his lieutenant, who drops suppression fire, doesn't get hit by the flash pulse, but does no longer have suppression fire now. So that's good. The Rushi has one attempt at moving out here beyond suppression fire range, and, well, at least beyond 16 inches range, and shoots at the Fusilier. I think it's 12s versus 9s, or something like that, but I still failed to kill him, which is a pain in the butt, so that didn't work. So then I tried doing it with the guy from the other side. So the hacker Kaisotsu moves around the back here and just shoots his bullets from this angle, from further afield, and that doesn't work either. So he gets shot and still doesn't kill the Fusilier. So I've had a couple of goes at it. And then we move out with the Sensorbot. So Sensorbot moving out, 11s and 3 dice against 12s and 3 dice, which was a pain. And finally, third time lucky, does manage to kill the Fusilier. So that means there's no way for me to lose the game now. We've both got 1 point each. It's just a matter of whether I can move on to his HVT area or pick up my classified, which is Extreme Prejudice, with the last model standing. So Mushashi, the hero of this game, moves out to here because he's now within 6 inches of this bot. So long as he successfully dodges the shots from this lieutenant here, and this is Auxilia, the next order will just be move over and ignore the shots and just coup de grace. So he does successfully dodge the bullet. He tanks an armor save from one of the other ones. And then we realize at this point that I have spent the regular orders, the irregular orders from everybody else in the same group as Mushashi. The Rushi, the Flash Pulse bot, the Kaisotsu hacker, the Sensor bot. So there are no regular orders left to turn into regular orders for him to make that extra move, because I'd saved myself a command token for exactly that. If I had instead done this, if I had just basically ignored the shots and hoped that I survived, if I short skill to there first, and then instead of dodging, short skill over to here, his HVT is over the corner there, so that the range here would have been 8 inches, and I would have won. provided that I'd actually survived at least one of the bullets from those two Pano models. Because I wasn't counting my orders correctly, this game technically is a draw, although if I'd just been counting correctly, what I obviously would have done is that, and I did roll the right dice to be able to avoid that. He did tank a save. So, regardless of how you want to look at it, it's either a win for JSA or a draw. Either way, pretty cool game. I quite like playing JSA. They're a little bit short on really good HMG options in my view, but they do a lot of other things very efficiently, and I really, really like Mushashi. He's awesome. Cool, hope you guys enjoy this one. We'll be back with some more reports soon, and have a good week.